Canadians let down again. Liberals overspend and push same failed policies. In a recent political landscape marked by controversy, the federal Liberal government has come under fire for its staggering decision to allocate $70 billion during a 37-day campaign period, averaging an unprecedented $1.9 billion per day without parliamentary approval. This spending spree, which includes $400 million per day deemed unapproved, raises serious questions about accountability and the government's fiscal priorities. As Canadians face ongoing affordability challenges, many are left wondering how such massive expenditures align with their everyday realities. Critics, including Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, have pointed out that while the government claims Canada is in a state of crisis, highlighting issues like trade tensions, housing affordability, and inflation, their spending choices suggest a disconnect from the realities faced by everyday Canadians. Instead of addressing the pressing concerns of rising food costs and economic pressures, the government appears to be sidestepping its responsibilities. This disconnection has fueled frustration among Canadians who feel their needs are being overlooked in favor of political maneuvering. The confusion surrounding the federal budget has only exacerbated these concerns. Mixed messages from government officials have left Canadians uncertain about the fiscal direction of the country. One minister indicated that there would be no budget, while another contradicted this by stating that a budget was forthcoming. This lack of clarity raises doubts about the government's economic leadership and its ability to navigate the complexities of fiscal management. The uncertainty only deepens the skepticism many Canadians have regarding the government's commitment to sound fiscal policies. The housing crisis remains a focal point of discontent among the populace. Recent comments from a new minister suggesting that housing prices should not decrease have been met with criticism, as many Canadians struggle with housing inaccessibility. This statement seems out of touch with the reality facing countless families who are increasingly priced out of the housing market. The disconnect between government rhetoric and public reality is stark, highlighting the urgent need for effective solutions to a crisis that affects so many. Energy policy has also become a contentious topic, particularly with the involvement of former Environment Minister Stephen Guilbeault, who continues to influence discussions despite his new portfolio. His stance on delaying infrastructure projects until current capacity is maxed out has drawn ire from provincial leaders and industry representatives alike. Many argue that proactive planning is essential for the future of Canada's energy sector, especially as the country seeks to balance economic growth with environmental sustainability. The government's approach to the energy sector has disappointed many stakeholders, particularly in light of its refusal to amend legislation perceived as detrimental to project development and emissions control. Critics argue that this inaction stifles innovation and hampers the ability of the sector to adapt to changing circumstances. While some remain hopeful that campaign rhetoric may not translate into actual policy, the overall sentiment is one of frustration and disappointment among those who view energy development as critical to Canada's economic future. Beyond economic issues, public safety and the justice system have also come under scrutiny. A tragic incident involving a car crash linked to alleged impaired driving by a 19-year-old has reignited debates about the effectiveness of current sentencing policies. Critics argue that the focus on rehabilitation over deterrence undermines accountability and public trust in the legal system. With rising crime rates in various urban centers, many Canadians are questioning whether the current justice policies adequately address the complexities of crime and punishment. The case of a repeat offender, who was released early only to commit another serious crime, has further fueled concerns about the adequacy of current justice policies. This incident has raised alarms about the effectiveness of measures in place to manage repeat offenders and the risks posed by insufficiently enforced sentencing. Citizens are increasingly concerned about their safety and the perceived leniency of the justice system, which appears to prioritize rehabilitation at the expense of public safety. As Mark Carney steps into the role of Liberal leader and Prime Minister, the pressure is on to address these pressing issues with transparency and responsiveness. Carney's leadership will be pivotal in guiding the party toward a more accountable governance model that genuinely addresses the concerns of Canadians. The expectations are high, and many are watching closely to see if he can implement the necessary changes that will restore public trust in the government. The video commentary underscores a growing sentiment among Canadians that the federal government must move beyond contradictory messaging and take decisive action to restore public trust. The public is weary of political posturing and demands a government that is not only transparent but also proactive in addressing the pressing issues of the day. This is especially true in a time when economic uncertainty and public safety concerns loom large in the minds of voters. In conclusion, the current political climate in Canada reflects a deepening sense of disillusionment among citizens. With rising costs, a housing crisis, and concerns about public safety, the government's recent spending decisions and policy approaches have left many feeling let down. As the political landscape evolves, it remains to be seen whether the Liberal government can pivot toward a more accountable and effective governance model that truly addresses the needs of Canadians. The stakes are high, and the time for action is now.